there. Welcome to Entrepreneurial Live Interviews with Connie Fuksa. And I am doing these live interview series because I like to share with you guys the journey of some pretty amazing people that have, gone through different things and had different experiences and now are doing really amazing things. And they've had a lot of struggles, successes, things that we've all experienced through our entrepreneurial journey that I wanted to share because I wanted to share these people with you. I wanted to share their stories with you, but I also wanted you to see that it isn't like some magic button that somebody pushes and boom, all of a sudden you're a successful entrepreneur. There's a lot of things that go into it. So this afternoon, I'm interviewing this lady that I most recently met that I'm really excited to share with you guys because she has a very interesting story, a very interesting journey. And she's a regular person, just like you and I, that you can really relate to. And I'm so excited to share with you Lori Schramek today. And Schramek, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I said it wrong. Lori, thank you so much for being with me today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Connie.
So now we're even. There we go. Absolutely. I am thrilled to have you on with us today. So, Lori, share with us your story. Tell us a little bit about where you came from, who you are, some of the things that you've done in your career, and where you are now.
Well, first, I wouldn't consider myself an amazingly successful entrepreneur, like you're making me out to be, by all means. But I am pretty much your ordinary person. I went to college, graduated, was gonna, be a big career woman, and I got married and I had kids, and I did work for about 5 years up in Cockeysville, and had 3 children, and I guess it was my oldest was about 10 months old when I had taken the leap to leave the workforce and stay home full time, and it was scary for me at that time because I had worked all my life to be I was going to be a big successful career woman, and just kind of had that drive in me, and those little kiddos, man, they steal your heart away. And that's what happened to me. And I struggled with that, in that I felt like I was throwing away, great opportunities. And really the truth of the matter was I was just putting it on the shelf. I still, even though I was not working full time, getting a full-time paycheck, I did start a career with Mary Kay. I was a Mary Kay consultant for several years, and then once my third was born, it just wasn't possible. And so at that point, I left the Mary Kay business, and still use their products, by the way. So hit Connie up if you need some. They're wonderful.
Yep, I do have a Mary Kay distributorship for sure.
I know, they're amazing. But so I put my energy into PTOs, in the church, in charities, just in the community, trying to organize neighborhood things if there were neighbors that needed help with things. And that's where I put my focus on, in addition to my kids as well. But that's all more flexible to be able to do all that. And then I found myself when my youngest was probably in about 6th or 7th grade, and I was bored sitting at home, and, you can only exercise so much and you can only clean your house so much. And so I went back to work and worked at a preschool because that's what I knew how to do, deal with little kids. And I missed my kids being little. So I love that. And in the meantime, I left out a step. In 2004, my husband dragged me down to Alabama, and we moved to Birmingham and lived there for about 14 years. And just recently have moved back up here. He works for the government. And so he pulled me down to Alabama. I knew nobody, no family. And like I said, I threw myself into the PTO and churches and charities and community and such, and got involved as being a preschool teacher, and did that for, like 6-7 years maybe. Mm-hmm. And as my youngest was approaching high school graduation, I just felt like, there's what's going on. And you know how you just get those nudges. And And I was scrolling Facebook and saw a post from a friend of mine who was actually my middle daughter's softball coach years before. And she is a mortgage consultant. She opened up her own mortgage brokerage and she was looking to grow her business. And she had, or I had reached out to her at that point and said, hey, you know, tell me more about this opportunity and, you know, what would be required of me. And, you know, I decided to take the leap and jump into it, got my license and jumped in with 2 feet and went out and bought some suits and professional, which that was kind of the fun part, I must say. But yeah, and it was not as easy as it looked. It was hard putting myself back out there. And I felt like I had, I think my biggest hurdle was a lack of credibility. Even though I had a college degree and I've bought in 3 houses at that point, and I understood the mortgage industry, did well on the test and all of that. I felt like I had a lack of credibility in just the business world. And I was the old lady, you know, and didn't know how to work a computer and could barely do email. And it was hard. It was hard. So I guess that was 2017, and then 2018, or the end of 2017, my husband says, hey, we're moving back to Maryland. And I had just started getting things going and feeling comfortable and rocking and rolling. And so that kind of took the wind out of my sail. It was really difficult emotionally, not professionally. It was more of an emotional thing. We literally dropped my youngest off at college at Auburn University and drove up to Maryland literally the next day to move into our new home. And like I went down there kicking and screaming, I came back up here kicking and screaming too. So I don't like change so much. Can you tell?
Wow.
So, and I didn't know what was going to happen. The brokerage that I worked for down in Alabama, they had no interest in broadening their horizons up here to Maryland. They were only licensed in Alabama. So I just kind of sat with it for a while and then stumbled upon Fairway up here. They had just opened the office here in Annapolis, which is where I live, and literally like 3 miles up the road is the office. And yeah, they hired me on the spot, and I jumped in, and it's been a phenomenal experience. Great company to work for, and even though it's a large corporation, each branch is independently owned and operated. So I am responsible for generating my own business. I do have resources, but you have to pay for those resources as well. So it's not like I'm going to work for Wells Fargo or something like that. And that's the entrepreneurial aspect of it, which I love because I'm in control of my schedule. I'm in control of, you know, really how much I want to earn. You know, you got to do the work to make the big bucks, and I'm on my way. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've been writing some notes here, but it sounds like to me, so a couple of things I wanted to go back and touch on is, you know, it sounds like to me, so when you got out of college, you know, had these great plans for what you were going to do. Then you started having children. Then you said, well, gosh, I need to stay home with my children. But you took that spirit that you wanted to do these things. You wanted to, you know, set the world on fire, and just turned them into your volunteer side. So, you know, you were volunteering at all kinds of things. And just because it's not income coming in, those are still entrepreneurial projects because you are going in and running things, creating things, pushing that motion. So it sounds like to me, you learned a lot of things through those experiences that carried into, oh gosh, now I'm going to go in and, you know, figure out how to create business and how to create momentum, which I think that's what I'm hearing from you. Is that right?
Well, that would make sense. Yeah. There's a lot of fear, that, you know, what are they going to say? You know, nobody likes to pick up the phone and call a stranger. And sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even the stranger. It's asking a friend for some help. You know, that can be hard too. So,
Yeah, and you said something about that you were getting some nudges, and I like that because I think a lot of people talk about seeing, an opportunity shows up and they decided to take advantage of it, or maybe someone suggested something that piqued your interest. It sounds interesting. Maybe I'm going to try that. So it sounds like the nudges equate to that kind of thing. You obviously felt something, heard something, and said, okay, maybe I'm going to try this. And so tell us a little bit more about that, because I think one of the things I like about, well, many things that I love about your story, but one of them I really like is people feel like, when they see these kinds of things, they just, snap their fingers and go, all right, I love this. This is what I'm going to do. And magically it all works out. And obviously that's not the case, particularly in your story, being moved all around and having to reestablish those relationships. So talk to us a little bit more about that, that timing of it all.
Well, I guess the kick in the butt, I guess, would be what made me take the jump was it was in January. So it was after the first of the year. And, like most people, I was doing soul searching and just trying to reevaluate my life. Where am I going and what's ahead of me? And, and at that time is when the opportunity came up, just scrolling through Facebook, and I'm not a big Facebooker either. So, I thought that was interesting. And even after I saw it, I didn't jump on it right away. I waited probably a week and I prayed about it and, told God about all the reasons why I wasn't qualified and what's not for me. And, fear was paralyzing in all of it. And I, so it was more like, well, let me just look, or let me just ask and see what it's about. And I was expecting to get, oh no, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. And, all these roadblocks would come up and, oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't think it was for me, That's not the way the conversation went. So I think it was really more just taking that next step rather than, even though I was visualizing myself working full time again, I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know how it was going to pan out. So the next step was to just make that call and make the inquiry and have the conversation. And, it could have led to something completely different. Fortunately it didn't, but,
there's some good advice in there too, because I think no matter what your journey is, the fear of the unknown is always paralyzing, right? Yeah. So no matter where your entrepreneurial journey takes you, the fear of picking up the phone and calling somebody, the fear of asking somebody's opinion that you're not really sure where that opinion's going to go, the fear of just jumping out. I mean, you're talking about a mortgage business that I love that you explained that it's almost, you're very much your own entrepreneur, because even though it's a large corporation, they're independently owned and you're responsible for creating your own business and have to pay for tools just like any entrepreneur starting a business. So I love that. But, the fear of that fear that's paralyzing is in so many ways. I mean, walking into a networking room, a networking group where you don't have a soul and having to walk around and talk to people. I mean, that's critical piece of information that you're sharing right there that I think is so cool. So talk to us a little bit more about that in this respect, because here you are in maybe not a brand new town, but someone who's been in a really long time. Yeah.
Well, we actually, when we lived up here, before we moved down to Alabama, we lived in Central Maryland.
Okay. So very different. Now you are in a new town, no one, you're starting a brand new job that requires you to go out and well, maybe not even a job. You're starting a career, an entrepreneurial journey in an area that no one, and you don't even totally know your business yet. You're still learning that. And you have to go out and make your own business. You have to go create contacts. So talk to us a little bit about that, because that's a true theme in any entrepreneur's business, no matter what your business is, the fear and the having to create that business.
Yeah. Well, and on top of all of that, Fairway was fairly new to Annapolis. So, I would introduce myself to people in the business, real estate agents and title people, and they'd be like, Fairway, what? Golf? No, mortgage. So that even made it a little bit more difficult. But, but yeah, it was one meeting, one networking event at a time. And there were times when I would literally sit in my car and just pray before I walked in, and just, pray that somebody would be in there, just pray that I wouldn't freeze, pray I wouldn't say something stupid. You know, and that I would seem authentic and genuine and not salesy, and, you know, all those things that I didn't want to be. Yeah. And to really focus, that helped me focus on my why, and you know, why was I even doing mortgages to begin with? So it would just ease my mind. And, you know, you just, like I said before, you got to take that step. And you know, in Annapolis, it's a pretty tight knit town. So, you know, you keep going, and eventually you're going to know more and more people. And, you know, so it's great to be able to walk in and see a familiar face. And you got to be careful, though, because you can't hang out with the people that you know real well, and networking is the purpose of it.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So you got to take that first step. You can't be afraid and let fear paralyze you into not doing things. So talk to me a little bit. I mean, one of the advantages for you is having a company. Well, first of all, people understand mortgages. So that's not a misnomer. It's not like someone going to start a business that nobody even knows, understands. But when you talk about the Fairway name and people saying, I don't even understand what that means. So it is very much walking into an unknown kind of a vortex. But talk to me a little bit about, you know, so 2 years you've been working on this, you're rebuilding in a whole new area. And so tell me some steps, you know, obviously the fear paralyzing you, you've talked about some of the successful things that have happened. Fast forward a little bit. How's your business now, 2 years later, that you, you know, you've instituted a lot of these things, and now you're seeing X success, X results based on what you've told us that you've had to do?
I would say, well, for me, coaching was the big thing. I had those mentors in my ears saying, stick with it. There were times when I was like, this is not worth my time. I'm not getting paid, and I'm working my tail off, and just not making progress the way I thought I would. And it's hard to keep that energy and maintain it. So I did have two mentors whispering in my ears and encouraging me. But I do have a spirit of perseverance as well. So I think that helped me in just not getting overwhelmed by the negatives. And, you know, each day, each week, there were little wins, and new friendships have blossomed for me. Right. But, you know, they don't necessarily put the dollars in the banks, but they help your heart and they help your spirit. So that's valuable to me. And you never know, those friendships could develop into something down the road, you know, as a referral of some sort. But
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I love this. So there's such a common theme with entrepreneurs that when you talk about mentors, and mentors are people that, you know, maybe you look at and say, gosh, they're doing it. How are they doing it? And not being afraid to ask for help. And I think that's one thing that as entrepreneurs, a lot of people don't understand, that, you know, there's an individualized side of the world that maybe they don't go out and reach and ask for help, because when they hit those roadblocks and say, oh, forget it, this isn't worth it. There is somebody they can reach out to and say, I need your help, because you just need that push. You need that nudge. You need that. It's okay. Yeah. You know, when everybody else around you is saying, well, you don't have the best interest rates. Well, you don't have the easiest process. Well, I heard blah, blah, blah. And you don't want to do it anymore. And there is someone there that is helping you. So I love that concept, that information that you're sharing, because I think it's crucial for people to understand that it can be very lonely when you're in the entrepreneurial world. I mean, we don't always have all of that support that people in corporate America have.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love these concepts that you were sharing. So, Lori, tell me about you. Something, you know, I like to ask people about their superpower. And when I say superpower, I mean, what is the thing that you think that you do really, really well in your business? That's number one. And number two, so it's a kind of a two-part question. Number two, what is that aha moment, that beautiful thing that you do something in your job, and all of a sudden something happens and all the hair on your arm stands up and you go, oh my God, this is why I love this job. Tell us what that happy moment is for you.
I would say for me, it's education, and just mortgage is so much more than just an interest rate and a term. Mm-hmm. And that's probably like the biggest question I get. So what are your rates? And well, let me help you. Let me help you get the best mortgage that's for you. What are your goals? What are your current goals? What are your goals in 5 years and 10 years? Mm-hmm. And taking that time to really explore that with my clients and educate them on, well, if you work on getting your credit score up just a little bit, you can do these things while you're getting ready to, buy a house. You can get a better interest rate, or it can open up different programs for you that, may not have been available otherwise. So I like that relationship that I build with my clients. I miss them after the closing table. It's because you're talking to them so much, and, sometimes they get personal, and, they're going through a tough time. If it's a divorce, or, they're just struggling to do better for their family. I want to help them get to the other side and get those dreams. And there's something about home ownership that just is gratifying. It's satisfaction. It's part of our dignity to a certain degree. And I recently had a client earlier this year who it was a struggle to get him to the closing table for various reasons. Nothing too detrimental on his character or anything, but just the transaction itself. And we were at the closing table, and he told me that he had not told his children yet that they were moving. He was the first homeowner in his family, first generation of home ownership, and he was in his early 40s. And a lot of educating, a lot of long conversations, and repeating the same thing too, which some people don't want to ask questions because they don't want to sound dumb, and right. Let alone ask the same question again, right? So, but I'm so glad that he's asking the questions and letting me help him. And so he said that, he hadn't even told his children that they were moving, that they were going to surprise them. They knew that they were moving, but they thought they were just going to move into another apartment. So the townhouse that they bought was literally like across the street from her best friend. So, they were getting ready to, like that's worth every phone call after hours, and frustration.
That's
with
your aha moment right there, for sure. I can see it in your face. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Building a relationship, helping people, owning a business or running a business, which is what you're doing, is about relationships, period. And yours is to a level that most people don't understand, who's never gone through this. I mean, when you're dealing with your mortgage professional, you're telling them all of your personal financial information. It's like having a financial planner. You got to tell them everything so that they can do the best for you with that mortgage. And in Lori's case, that's clearly her sweet spot, is building that relationship. She's good at it, and she loves it too. That's really cool.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very much of it shows through. So, Lori, tell us a little bit about you. What is the personal side, nonprofit area? What is your special? Where is your heart as far as taking care of something that's outside of your work environment?
Well, since I've moved up here, I've gotten involved in CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate. With them for a year and a half. So I've got a young 14-year-old girl who's my buddy, and love her to pieces, and just she's in the foster care system, and I'm there to just come alongside her and just be her friend, be that ear that she needs, and that's it's hard at times because I wish I could do more than I'm really allowed to do, but that's been real fulfilling. So that's been the biggest jump. So I've been involved in Junior League of Annapolis, still trying to find my way. The Bernie House, that's fairly new for me. I helped them with their gala back in February, their big Mardi Gras gala, whatever you call it, and fundraiser. And they just purchased a new home here in Annapolis. And the Bernie House is basically, it's a stepping stone for battered and abused women they just need a helping hand to get their lives back together in a safe environment. So we provide them a home. It's not a shelter. It's an actual home that they can bring their family to and they help them get whatever resources they need to find a job and get them back on their feet. And they stay up there up to 2 years. So, but as soon as they're ready, they go, and they help them get connected to all the resources that the county and state offers, if those are needed. Sometimes children need certain things and stuff. So, and then
so if you had a piece of advice, information for somebody who's jumping into a entrepreneurial kind of situation or journey, or somebody who's there and who's stuck and just doesn't, is feeling those feelings as you talked about, trying to figure out how to take the next step on, just self-doubting, talking yourself, going through some of those things. If you had a piece of advice or two for somebody in those scenarios, what would that be?
I would say just do it. What do you have to lose?
Just do it, no matter what, right? Just jump in.
Yeah, my coach said to me at one point when I was probably at my bottom, and I had been crying, and she's like, we were talking about setting up workshops and such, and she was trying to encourage me to do it, and I'm just throwing excuses back at her, but, and she says, Lori, but what if you fly? And I was like, you don't know until you try. So. And when you fall down, you just get back up. So
I love it. Love it. That's great. That's just fly. What if you fly is definitely one of the ones that I follow a lot. That is, I talk myself through that one a lot. So because the entrepreneurial journey can be a little lonely sometimes, and sometimes you hit these walls and you're just not sure what to do when you hit the wall. It's not hitting the wall and not being able to get back up. The only way you fail is if you don't get back up.
Exactly. And I also think too, like, our minds are so limited. All the chatter that's going on in our heads, and the fear and whatnot. But I think that if you're in your true purpose, which I think we can have more than one purpose, but if you're really fulfilling a purpose, that God's going to take you, and he's much bigger than anything that we can imagine. So, don't be limited to just what our own thoughts are. So, that's part of if you fly apart,
Yeah. Fantastic. I love it. So Lori, if somebody wants to get in touch with you after today, because they want to find out, make a relationship with you, be able to, get a mortgage going, and they want to find out more about how to do that, how do they reach Lori?
Just give me a call at 205-790-4103. That is my cell number.
Okay.
So, give me a call, text me. I do have a website that's LoriSchramekMortgages.com.
Okay.
And then,
I'm going to type it in the comments so people can find it. LoriSchramekMortgages.com.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I got that in the comment.
All my contact information in there. So
if you add your contact information, that would be great, so anybody can find you. Lori, this has been absolutely amazing. I have gotten so many notes. I love a lot of the little pieces of nuggets of information you've given us, because, as I say, guys, that the beautiful thing about doing this is that we're finding out that there's so many people that go through a lot of the same things we do. You self-doubt yourself, you try to talk yourself out of things. And sometimes you need a coach to help you. Sometimes you need a mentor. Sometimes you need a kick in the butt for yourself. you have to really connect with what your aha, your passion, your why, whatever that is. And so, Lori, this has been so enlightening. I really appreciate you sharing all the nuggets with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are welcome, and I am very honored to have you on air as well. Guys, stay tuned. Later in the week, we have plenty more interviews coming up. Please go to my YouTube page, Connie Fuksa, and subscribe so you can go back and watch Lori's interview again. We will also be resharing it on Facebook, and I'll be tagging Lori. I'll share it in LinkedIn, and I will connect with her there as well. In probably in a week or so, it'll be up there, so you guys can tune in there. And also go back and check out my website, conniefuksa.com, for any tips and tools. There's lots of information on there that you can look up to help you with answering some of these questions and some of these struggles as well. Lori, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Connie.
All right, guys, everybody have a great afternoon, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.